Hi there and welcome again to Digital Imaging and Visual Communication. Today we're starting in on a free application called Gimp. Now, one of the best ways to learn how to use an application is to accomplish small tasks and then work your way up to larger projects. So what we'll do here is just a very simple version of that. We'll start with creating some small color blocks on different layers and then changing the opacity of the layers. Then we'll save this very simple image in GIMP format, and then we'll save it to a web format and then upload it later to a WordPress type post. So our first step here is just to create the new project by going to the upper menu bar and pulling down File and then New. So File and then New, and then you get a dialog box creating a new image. And inside that dialog box, you should be able to see things like width and height and how many pixels per inch it's going to be. So we've got a basically 5x5 image right here. And what we'll do is we're going to use the select tool in the upper left-hand corner of the toolbar. And notice that the foreground color is red. So inside that foreground color, we should be able to create a red square using that foreground color. But turns out it doesn't just happen that way automatically in the same way it might in Photoshop. We have to go back and fill in this area with the paint bucket tool or the bucket fill tool. So here's the paint bucket. Now we have our red square. Okay, so let's go ahead and try a few more layers. We'll go to the bottom of the layers palette, the bottom left hand side, and click on the little plus sign, and we'll get a new layer. And in that new layer, just hit OK. In that new layer, we could maybe create an oval of some kind. And let's put that there. Now notice we don't have a color for it, but why don't we pick one and we'll use this color picker over here. And so let's put in a nice blue oval. And again, moving over to the paint bucket tool, going over here, and we've got this blue oval. And we can do one more layer just to sort of put the frosting on the cake. And we'll create another square, and that other square maybe will be yellow or something. There we go. And let's put that down here, right there. And again, using the bucket fill tool right there. Come on, bucket fill tool. Using the bucket fill tool. There he is. Okay. Now, here's the interesting part. You can take each of these layers and move them around above the background layer. So you could make that one go to the top or that one go to the top. You can turn them on and off using these eyeballs over here to the side. And there's other things you can do too, like, for example, you can paint on them, you can change them, you can stretch them, you can boil them, you can fry them, you can, anyway. And then at this point, you can also make them a little bit less opaque. So let's take that yellow, for example, and we'll move the slider down here so that the opacity is not 100%, but maybe around, I'm trying to get it down to around 75%. That's good. And let's go to the blue circle as well. And again, you don't need to click on the blue circle. You just click on the area, the opacity command over here. So you kind of get the idea that the layers are pretty easy to change and that each layer can be treated separately while you're editing. This is really all I wanted to do on the first step, except for this, to show you that we're going to do two things. We're going to save this, and we'll just call it, example. And the suffix here is .xcf. And XCF is what you call a native format. So that means that when we open the XCF file again in GIMP, we will see our layers again. But that won't show up on the web. So we need to export in GIMP, and we'll go ahead and export this as example.jpg. And when we do that, we get a dialog box asking just how big do we want this file. Do we want the quality to be high, medium, or low? I'm going to put it on medium. I'm going to go ahead and hit export. And there it is. So that's all we need to do at this point. That color.example.jpg can then be uploaded onto a content management WordPress system for web display.